Hi, this is Stuart with Spitfire Audio's customer experience team, and I'm here to show you Appassionata strings. Starting in the top left corner of the plugin window, you'll find an LED. This will alternate between green and red when the plugin is loading, but will remain a constant green whenever the plugin is fully loaded. To the right of that are CPU and disk meters. These help in monitoring the performance of your computer while using the plugin. To the right of that is a memory view. This shows the amount of content that's being preloaded into RAM. Clicking on this will give a further breakdown of the content that's being preloaded. You then have a voices view. This shows how many streams of audio are being played at once. Outside of the views is a refresh button. Clicking on this will refresh the individual plugin instance, while Option or Alt clicking will refresh all instances of the plugin that are loaded. You then have a reverb option. By default, this is set to St. Luke's, but this can be changed to Gilded Hall or Stage as well. There's then the MIDI channel selection option. This defaults to any, but MIDI channels 1 through 16 can be selected if need be. There are then tuning and panning controls, as well as the master volume fader for the output of the plugin. Clicking on the ellipsis exposes further settings for the patch. The dynamics menu affects how hard the keyboard needs to be hit to change dynamic layers. By default, this is set to full velocity range, but velocity map to dynamics, compressed velocity high, or compressed velocity low can be selected as well if need be. There's then a dynamic smoothing option. By default, this is set to agile, but you can change it to be moderate or relaxed as well. The dynamic smoothing setting controls the reactivity of the dynamic slider, smoothing out the crossfade between dynamic layers. You can then adjust the velocity response for the plugin as a whole. By default, this is set to linear velocity, but can be changed to be shelf velocity, exponential negative, or exponential positive if need be. You can also reset or clear the CC mappings from here as well. Clicking on the cog to the right of the ellipsis exposes the settings for the plugin. In the General tab, you can copy the settings from this plugin so that they're applied to all of your other Spitfire products. In the Interface tab, you can do things such as toggle the help text on or off, change the default size and scale of the plugin window. You can disable key switches from being shown, enable automatic unload with mixer fader. This means that whenever a signal's fader is moved to 0, the signal is automatically offloaded. You can change the way the gain units are displayed, whether that be in decibels as opposed to a percentage. You can make controllers global, disable host automation, change the knob drag type, and disable warnings for missing samples. You can disable the auto hide knob parameter pop-up and enable automatic exclusive mic group behavior from here as well. In the Audio tab, you can change the maximum voices playable, adjust the preload and stream buffer sizes, adjust the master tuning, enable memory mapping, and change the default stereo outputs. In the Plugin tab, you can change the default preset that loads whenever the plugin is initially loaded. Violins 1 is the preset that loads by default. In the About tab, you'll find a link to the user manual as well as to our support site should you need it. Once you've made all of the changes you wish, you can apply them by clicking Save. The plugin window is divided into two sections, a top half and a bottom half. Clicking on the inward-facing arrows collapses the plugin window so that only the top half is visible. Starting with the top is a drop-down menu that has the presets. This is where you'll find all of the presets that come with the plugin. These can be filtered on the left using the buttons, and you can apply stars to them using the star icon to the left of the patch name as well. This will then allow them to appear in the starred view. Once you've found a patch that you wish to use, click on the patch name and simply click Load. Beneath the preset browser are two faders and a knob. The leftmost fader is the expression control. This adjusts the level of the technique that's being played. The second fader is the dynamics fader. This adjusts the overall dynamics of the technique. Clicking on the knob exposes controls that are available for the patch. In this library, the controls are tightness, release, reverb, legato offset, and noise floor. In the bottom section of the plugin window are the techniques. This is where you can change what technique is being played. Clicking on the pencil icon to the right of the techniques exposes the technique editor. This is where you can add and remove techniques as you wish. Once you've made whatever changes you wish to do, you can apply them by clicking Save. On the right side of the bottom section are the settings for the trigger. This allows you to change the settings for the trigger that changes the technique. By default, this will be set to key switch. The key switches are displayed via the green keys at the bottom of the piano roll. As you can see, the key switch for legato slurred is C#1. As a result, hitting C#1 will change the technique being played to legato slurred. Clicking on the middle option exposes the signal mixer. This is where you control the sound of the preset and each technique. You can turn on a signal by clicking the button underneath the signal name. On the right side of the signal mixer, you can adjust the close stereo width. This collapses a stereo instrument down, but only applies to the close signals. Clicking on Effects exposes the controls that were visible on the knob above. Tightness adjusts the note start point. Release adjusts the volume of the release triggers. Reverb adjusts the amount of reverb being added to the signal. Legato offset adjusts the overall offset of the legato interval. Noise floor adjusts the noise floor from the recording signal path. In small amounts, this can make the instruments sound more realistic. Once you have the patch set up as you wish, you can save the changes momentarily by clicking on the lock icon. This will prevent any accidental changes from being made. At the very bottom of the plugin window is the piano roll. The illuminated keys shows the playable range for the patch that's loaded. That's everything for Appassionata strings. If you need any help or have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Thanks for watching Spitfire Clips. Let us know if it was too long, too short, too fast, or too slow in the comments down below. Hit like if we answered your question, and subscribe for more clips, tips, tricks, and exclusive Spitfire content.